We're live now.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular meeting of February 15, 2022. Is anyone on council of any pecuniary or financial interest to declare? Okay, so noted. You all have had an opportunity to see the minutes of February the 1st, open and closed. Is there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Moved by Debbie Kaplinski, second by Carl Hill, motion to approve minutes of regular meeting held on February 1st, 2022, open and closed.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. All right, now somebody wanted to go first this time. No, this isn't the time. Somebody wanted to go first? Chris, I thought you needed to go somewhere or something.
No, that was our EOCG.
Oh, okay,
Jean. Bob.
okay. So Bob, then you can go first.
Alrighty, let's see what we have for you. From the fire side, we had a couple of calls since our last meeting on February 15th. January 19th, we had a motor vehicle collision on Highway 60 at Church Street. And a bunch of guys made it up there, but we were called off just as we were arriving on scene. Looks like a car rear-ended a transport truck, so you know who the winner was there. January 31, we had smell of propane on Queen Street. But that was just because it had a recent fill-up and we didn't know that truck had just pulled away before the call was put in. So you'll frequently get that remnant smell for a few minutes. Special events. Okay, the three special events here are all related. And what we have going on is when I came here almost 11 years ago, the OFM was putting in a new mandatory firefighter minimum standard certification program. And that's the one that I had developed and training my people to look at and all of this lovely stuff. Then about 2017, 2018, they decide, well, we're going to improve it, make it bigger and better, and have a different certification requirement using NFPA standards. But when it first came out, somebody slipped something in that said it wasn't mandatory, so I didn't change my training standard. Now, guess where we are in 2022? They're coming out with a new mandatory firefighter certification program. And this will be meeting with the NFPA standards with exceptions to specific responsibilities of the fire department within the regulating and establishing bylaw, which I may want to go through shortly and review and bring some ideas up here. So what we have here then is February 1st, there was an OASC, that's the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs meeting on the new program. And then the February 8th, there was an OFM that was giving us the specifics of the program itself. February 14th, we had a PAC-6, that's the Provincial Advisory Committee. It used to be called Zone 6, meeting on this program as well. Taking everybody's suggestions, ideas, thoughts, slapping them on a piece of paper, and they're going to be sending everything back to the OFM. And it has to be there by, well, it closes on the 28th. Now, I know tomorrow, Janice and Sue are listening to a presentation. It's a summary of the one we had from the OFM. It's for CAOs and mayors specifically, and we'll see where we go from there.
That's a 4 to 5:30, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. All right, just because of the weather. So I might do it from home then. Okay, sorry.
Okay, now the training has to be done by a certified instructor, which gives us some issues. Our illustrious OFM have, as you know, closed the campus at Gravenhurst, which is sending a lot of stuff out to regional training centers. Our regional training centers, to a point, have 1 or 2 courses they give, and they still have charge of the $65 the OFM used to charge, but it could be $300, $400, $700 per course. So they're going to try and tell us that it's not going to cost any money. It's going to cost a lot of money. Now, we do have until 2026 to get the basics through the system. And the technical specifics, we don't need to do till 2028. But a lot of this stuff's gonna take that long to get the people cycling through the system. I have one person who we have put through Gold Seal Firefighter 2 that I'm using as my trainer. And I'm going to get him hopped up on the fire officer and fire instructor training course, which means that then he can be certified to sign us off. But as I said, the testing won't happen until 26, so we'll see what's gonna happen in the interim. So that's what those 3 meetings are. As far as training, everything's canceled due to COVID measures put in place. I'm looking at returning to our meeting, bi-monthly meeting in March, which is on March the 8th, and we'll discuss what training we want to do. We're getting into the springtime training, which is the MNRF training, which is both inside training and practical outside, to maintain our contract requirements and get those out of the way, and then we'll renew the program and see what we want to train and how we want to train that. So what have we got on CEMC? We had 5 meetings actually since our last meeting with council on February the 15th. COVID-16 specific, or COVID-19 specifics are Renfrew County as of the 14th. Confirmed cases at 3,165, resolved cases at 2,896, and deaths at 27. So we've been going up on the death count a couple of weeks, and last week I think we went up 4, so we're getting ahead of the game a bit. Ontario, as of February 13th, confirmed cases at 1.07 million, deaths at 12,093. Nationally, as of the 13th, confirmed cases 3.19 million, deaths at 35,470. Internationally, as of the 14th, confirmed cases at 413 million, resolved cases at 333.8 million, and deaths at 5,837,742. My report.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's start at number 1. Any questions on number 1? Number 2? Okay.
Question, just, like, my understanding is if you have somebody in the department, they can do all the training, right? If you have somebody that's certified, they'll be able to do the training in-house as long as it's approved by the OFM.
Well, I heard that you had to have an approved instructor. But
But they can approve, like, I'm not sure the firefighter you're talking about, but if he's fully trained.
he's a firefighter
yeah,
too, Gold Seal.
Yeah, so the OFM can approve him as an instructor, I understand.
You see, the first one's the first batch. I was trained the trainer type thing. They certified me to do that. And that's why I signed off all of those original ones when I came in. When they were going through the next series, you had to be certified in each of the things that you were signing off on your training. So technically, I guess I didn't meet that requirement. So we want to make sure that we get that requirement under our belt for this next round. Lots of times to do it. It's only, I think, 4 courses that have to be done to get up to a fire instructor 1. So, and the technical ones, some of the aspects they were looking at, if you're looking at the 1001 standard, which takes you to Firefighter 2, the very last one on there to be fully qualified for Firefighter 2 is hazardous materials and weapons of mass destruction operations. I'm not sure there's anybody in the county that as a fire department is certified in that. So the question then even is, if you're certified for Firefighter 2, technically you're saying that you do the operations aspect. We're all trained to awareness level only. So there's lots of things that we have to work out over the next while.
So basically what you're saying is that all volunteers will be trained the
Full
same
firefighter.
as a full-time firefighter. certified.
And you know what the cost of that is.
Yeah.
Well, they kept talking about that.
And then what they should do
We've been
then is
talking
give
about
you the
that.
money to pay all those
Yeah.
firefighters at a firefighter rate, permanent positions. I mean, I don't know why we're the poor cousins of the first response community. We don't have volunteer police officers or volunteer paramedics.
Ted, you wanted to add something?
Well, just, so the way I understand it too, firefighters have 4 years to get certified. And 6 years for officers.
Well, actually, the write-up on the current policy came down, said you had to do it in 2 years. In fact, one of the Q&As that went back to the committee was, what happens if someone doesn't qualify in 2 years? So you just spent how many hundreds or thousands of dollars getting a person trained who almost finished? And then they didn't make it in 2 years, what? That's not gonna count, or, I mean, what's the big deal?
We're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. And I checked the listing, there's actually 28 regional training centers right now, okay, in Ontario. The closest one for us is Huntsville, which is 2 hours, 2.25 hours, okay, to drive from here. Even the people that are using the regional training centers or may want to set one up, say there is no strategy to develop a regional training center system. There is, I think, something like 15 packs, okay, the provincial advisory committee owns, we're pack 6. And the guy says, okay, I'm gonna make a building out there, it's gonna cost me hundreds of thousands of bucks, get the trainers set up, get the courses set up, and we're getting ready to go. But in the meantime, you've allowed 3 or 4 more RTCs within 50 miles of me to all set up. So it does no longer has a business model that works. So there's lots of issues that are going to relate here.
Well,
So,
this came up years ago,
yes,
and so we went head to head with the province. The county, even though county wasn't involved in fire, because it affected all of us there, we asked for, so we were collaborating together, and we made delegations, and we were able to push them back on that. I don't know if this government's, there's bureaucracy there, and they want it, and they're doing it with every government.
well, what the OAFC, a board member who was presenting to us, he sits at that table, said basically the Liberals started this, okay?
Yes,
But,
that's true.
but in the meantime, the Conservatives agreed with it and want to push it through. So the NDP are on board with it. So he said, unless you're expecting a Green Party government type of thing, it's being pushed through politically.
Well, I mean, this is the time to push back if municipalities aren't in favor of it, but a lot of municipalities have full-time firefighters, because they could care less about us. So it's the departments that have the, first of all, it's terrible. Volunteer firefighters come and go, and we're gonna invest $100,000 into their training, and then they're gonna walk. I mean, you know.
Well, that's because it's not a full-time job.
I know, but when CNL is looking for firefighters, they're all gonna go there, and we're gonna lose them, and then we have to start from scratch again.
That is true.
We have to look into that.
I know last time they were going to grandfather people a certain amount of years, but. I think this time
They've taken that off, yeah.
Okay, what's happening though is last time, I think I got 7 grandfathered through under my signature. Okay, they don't have to meet the new requirements. They're considered grandfathered for the next step. But of course, we've lost a couple of those people. Okay, so they're free and clear at this point. But to even be considered for grandfathering last time, you had to be in the job at least 5 years before 2018. So anyone that wasn't on the fire department
So
before
senior-
2013 could not be
senior-
grandfathered.
Senior firefighters that are qualified. Well, you should get into business. You should start training, save us a whole pile of money.
There you go.
Do it for free.
But it's getting harder, like younger people.
I know.
Actually,
They
it
don't
might
wanna
be
get-
good for younger people, because it'll give them an incentive.
They can get a job, yeah, they could. But the only thing it hurts the municipality, because that's a big investment of money.
And as you say, CNL, the girl that we hired last year,
Yeah,
has
they
come and
left
gone.
East Petawawa.
She's applying to
East
Ottawa.
Petawawa, yeah, they take them to.
So, yeah,
Oh, well, there's not, I mean, we have to do the pushback. And then get ready for your budget. Anything else on number 2? Number 3 then, Bob, I'm assuming you can go back to your training, and we are meeting the EOCG on Friday. But now that council's here, I'm recommending that he be allowed to do the training and go back to normal. Things are moving quite quickly and opening up. Does everybody show of hands? That's okay? All right, thank you. Okay, Bob. Number 4. Number 5, the reports. Report as a whole. Okay, thank you. So I'm supposed to take Dean first. Hi, Dean.
Hi.
Should I have a report?
Sure. We're just doing regular winter maintenance, plow, sanding, salting when needed, snow removal as well. We had to steam quite a few culverts actually with this cold and then thawing and freezing again. So we had to thaw some culverts. We've been cutting some firewood for next year for our outdoor furnace at the shop. I was talking with Lee Perkins with the county of Renfrew in regards of seeing if KHR can get access to the weather monitoring system out on the bypass there. So his operations manager is looking into it for us, just so before budget time or whatever, because it would help us out a lot. Talking with Brad from Valley in regards to the tandem plow truck. March 24th now is the due date to build it, so we push back a month. So we won't see that truck probably till at least July, maybe June at the latest, or July at the latest. Because it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks for them to build it, and then it takes at least 6 to 8 weeks for the gym core. And it just depends if we're on their schedule, like if their schedule conflicts or whatever, so it'll be later. So.
Used to be easier in the old days.
Yeah.
Hi, did you already get me a truck?
Yeah.
Maybe next winter.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just the only other thing is regarding Cardinal Road. Did you just take a look at that?
Okay, I didn't see that. Oh, it was Cardinal Road. I didn't know which road that was. Yeah.
So basically what they're requesting is that they take the center line and give us 66, full 66, because it is a trespass road. It goes around corners and.
Where
stuff
is
like
that? Where is it?
It's right at, almost at Scenic Road. Cardinal and Scenic.
Okay. at the
Cardinal
corner.
goes, Cardinal's right past the township.
Yeah, I know where it is. And it's at the crossword there, but
Pretty much right at where Blank's Pit is.
I just want to check it over. Bob, how? I thought he was out.
I liked this picture. I've seen a lot of that one. I got a lot out of that one. Yeah. Yeah, real good picture.
I like reading the stuff, there's something back there. That's, oh my God. I'm very excited.
Have they applied for the 7th? Oh, yeah. No, they haven't.
No, they want to give us the.
Yeah,
If it's not a 7, is it?
well,
So that's probably, they're thinking maybe a natural severance.
Yeah, naturally 7. They're authorized to inquire whether if Cardinal Road was surveyed at a width of 66 feet.
I for Matt, is there pictures of it? Or? I don't know how he says, how it naturally. Oh, God, what the hell is that? So dark. Cardinal Road. So they want to take over, so we're crossing, whereabouts is that cross?
right at the railroad tracks, basically where it starts. And it goes all over the scenic.
Thumbs on that one, yeah.
You know what they're talking about? Like, I'm just leery about stuff like that. I mean, just because he says it'll natural sever, doesn't mean it's going to. The natural severance, okay, so there's Cardinal Road. Okay, and so what is it severing?
That's where it is, you know.
Okay,
And then if they want to get the center line,
okay,
and do 33 feet on each side, so then.
you go straight?
No,
No?
on the same road.
Oh, on the same road?
Same road, they just want to start here, somewhere here, so 32, 33, and then here to 33.
And who owns this? Well, that's news to me that you can do that and cause a severance. I never heard of that.
We did the same thing on the radio.
The Grady Road?
Is that the one that we're passing the bylaw tonight?
Yeah. Okay, it's exact same thing?
It's something similar, yes. There still has to be looked into, what we seen on the first page, still has to be looked into mineral rights. Has to be reviewed yet.
And who does that?
There's still some review.
Our solicitor?
And who's paying for all that?
Well, it says, it says Mr. Alchesty's expense.
He said he'll pay for everything?
I'm authorized to inquire whether it was surveyed on the center line of the existing travel road at Mr. Alchesty's expense. The township would enact a bylaw authorizing the acceptance of the transfer.
Did we talk to Sheldon about this?
Yeah,
Or what the Sheldon said?
Sheldon said, is the entirety of the road that goes through the property is a traveled municipal road? It appears to be. Generally, the township has the benefit of obtaining the full 66 foot of trespass road, provided everything is paid for by the landlord, which is being proposed, and there's no encumbrances on title. I note there is a notation of title, which is the subject to mineral rights, which I would need to review. You want me to review this with council first before responding to this?
Okay, so he's saying it's okay.
So I should tell them to go ahead and.
Check the mineral rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is there no mineral rights? Okay. Everybody okay with that? That Sheldon to do. And then, if everything comes back okey dokey, can we give permission to go ahead as long as he pays for it?
Yeah.
Show of hands? Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. for my reports.
All right. Anybody have anything to Dean?
I think just the bill.
Get your umbrella.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Dean? Before we go to bills? Okay, Mr.
I, Ted Brown, declare senior financial interest in road general voucher number 01-2022.
All the folk. Okay, any questions, any concerns on the bills? Any questions on the bills? Anybody? You have a question?
I sent something last year.
For which?
A garage.
No, just look at it. So
Take your time.
Oh.
I can do that. I got it.
Yeah. It's a little bit of.
sorry.
I have some, I have.
Oh, it's here. Who's, she has stress.
That's what we got the roll
Okay, thank you. That's it.
There you go. Got the question?
No.
Anybody on this side? Okay, motion please.
Moved by Debbie Klinski, second by Carl Hill, motion to approve voting general voucher number 01-2022 in the amount of $311,804.12.
All those in favor? Carry.
I'm I've got till the 28th to do the T4.
All right, we did that. Anything else? Anybody else have anything for Dean? No, nothing in the correspondence addressing to Dean? Okay. Thank you very much, Dean. Have a nice night.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, Chris, you're up.
Okay. The first item here is just a summary of what went on for our 2022 recreation meeting, which is on February 7th. Pretty much all the stuff I'm going to get into, but I just wanted to give a high level overview of kind of generally what we talked about. The first piece being regarding COVID-19. I had expressed to the group that I believe the best path forward was to plan as if there was no COVID-19 and to assume that we'd be able to do everything as before. I had planned several contingency plans. The group seemed to agree, and just a quick update that it seemed to be the right decision with basically everything being gone March 1st. So moving forward to the event schedule, you'll see here this document titled KHR 2022 event schedule. I've created a one-page document that basically shows all the events that will be going on for 2022. Some are new ones, which I will get into. The ones that I'm not getting into at this time, just to explain for council. The Active Living Challenge is something that I'm working on with our municipal partners in the Rural Community Cooperative. We're looking to get our participation grant to basically get some prizes to do some challenges similar to Round the Round, but on a bigger scale. So that's what that is. It's to be determined exactly depending on the grant and the community support we're going to do. KHR Car Show, that's just a name change. We discussed with the group that Party in the Park and Songs in the Park were very similar in that we wanted to distinct that it was a car show, and KHR Car Show just kind of rolls off the tongue. So that was what I went with. The other one here, like I said, there are other ones on there that I will get into later, but for September, you'll see family game nights. This is something that I'm working on. I'll get back to council with a full plan, but basically the idea would be, have to look into the licensing if we have to, but basically your family would get put in a draw and you could participate in a game night. So for example, Family Feud, one family versus another family, and then it would be a tournament of games like Family Feud, Price is Right, all those kinds of things like that, just to kind of get people out and about. Because when we were going through the programming, we realized that there wasn't a lot going on in September. And so this is something that I'm going to bring forward in a more thorough plan, but basically just to see that that's capped there for September, and just keep an eye out in the near future for an update on that. Okay, getting into programs. So here's a list of all the programs that are existing and some new ones. You'll see the Songs from the Park. I've done 10 shows from July 8th to September 9th. I'm looking to try to develop a basketball program, hopefully in partnership either with CRC or volunteer group. Frisbee golf, carrying on from what we did last year. Ultimate Frisbee is one that we've been getting a lot of feedback about. It's very minimally cost, and we're hoping to try to get a grant for that. But just to see for council's purposes that that's on my radar, and we are looking to develop this. Everything else is stuff that's already existed, and then of course the awards, which is all year. This one, I love this one. So the recreation group had asked me to come up with an idea for a St. Patrick's Day themed event, and I kind of ran with it, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. The idea of this contest came from the idea maybe it'd be fun to do something like dressing up, but then I thought, what's more Irish than an Irish jig? So I came up with the idea to basically have a Irish jig contest, and it would be called the Irish Jig Jam. And I've gotten some partners with this. Not all the municipalities are wanting to participate, mostly because they'd already pre-approved their budget as I had brought it forward with council, not out of enthusiasm, of course. So $450 in total prizes, $150 for the finest jig in town or the best local jig. So that means there'll be a winner at each level from each municipality. So Killaloe, Hagerty Richards, Bonnechere Valley, and Brudenell, Lindock, Raglan who want to participate. It would run from March 1st to March 21st. It would be a Facebook contest. And this one, I hadn't brought this up with the group, but I had this idea and they said to run with it. So hopefully you'll approve that the winner from KHR would have the option to open the Irish gathering with a jig and would be declared jig master for the entire event, and that they would get a shirt and a hat that would basically say that, and they would be an ambassador of good cheer at the event. And every year, if we like this event, there could be a new jig master who would be kind of like the officer of good cheer or a similar kind of thing to kind of get people excited and look forward to, because I thought it would be an extra thing that people would really get excited about, that they could be that in the Irish gathering. And just so you're aware, it's actually a real thing. There actually are Irish jig contests. That's what these people in here are from. So with your approval, hopefully we'll get some really excellent submissions. So the eat and greet, this is one that I had talked last year. Basically, the idea would be, because the environmental action tour is so popular and it gets such good feedback, that we wanted to do a new event last year. We couldn't because of COVID, but basically where council would be able to come and introduce themselves to the participants. They could get all their gear. We could have a light meal, and that would be kind of an opportunity for like-minded individuals to meet each other, but also functionally so that they could get all of their stuff before the day went on. So we did, it originally was a different day, but we changed it to April 29th, the Friday. It would be live music, some sort of food truck or catering or other foods so that council can be talking with the crowd and meeting people and not have to focus on making food. Then it would be the registration and the meet and greet, and EAT is an acronym for Environmental Action Tour, so that's why it's called. The Environmental Action Tour itself. So this is my proposal for this, and you'll see why I'm asking for this, because I had asked the Recreation Committee to get some budget pre-approvals ahead of time so that I can basically get going with purchasing all this stuff. Now that we're hopefully out of the eye of COVID, January really wasn't looking good. Now things are really looking a lot better. So it's going to be important for us to start getting everything booked up right away, because soon everyone else will start to figure that out, and then the bookings will fill up. So this was an idea too, just to get ahead of the game, because it is in April before budget. There'd be $1,000 in prizes just like last year. Free t-shirts, but I wanted to go 150 because there were so many participants last year. People love that idea. Different color t-shirt, lime green, 10 free garbage tags. Every year we try to make it more environmentally friendly. So one feedback that we got was that we should have blue recycling bags so that people can see that it's recycling, and then we can separate it after. Clear garbage bags, water coolers, because a lot of people were saying that using the water bottle is more environmentally friendly, to bring your own water, so that we could provide that with them. Then we would obviously have water bottles and snacks, recycled ones for people who did want that. The pickup will be May 2nd. The budget is $6,000, and all the breakdown is there. The prizes, the shirts, coolers, materials, and catering for that event.
And what time would that be?
So the environmental action.
What
Tour,
about the eat and greet?
the eat and greet,
5 to 7, I have.
5 to 7, yeah. Sorry, I should have put that in there.
Perfect.
And I think that's going to be a really good opportunity to create kind of a culture around this really exciting event, because it seems to be really well received. And So carrying on, there were some other budget pre-approvals that I was looking to get. The Irish Jig Jam for $325, that'd be the $150 prize, and then the shirts and the hat. Easter Candyland to get that going because it would have to be ready before budget. Volunteer appreciation, $1,000. Canada Day, I've increased this only in reflection of the increased cost of the fireworks. So that just supplements, it's the same spending, it's just because the fireworks cost more, then we have to increase our budget. And then the Irish Gathering, this was a double up from 2021, which the Recreation Committee had recommended for 2022. And so I'm just asking for that so we can go ahead and book the entertainment, all that stuff, because right now, nothing's booked up because everyone was so unsure what was gonna happen, but now, as soon as, if everything goes well, March 1st, everything's going to be opened up and people are gonna start booking, and then it's gonna be really hard. So I was hoping to be able to book those. And then finally, just some other updates. Rural Recreation, Rural Community Cooperative met February 8th, Renfrew County Recreation met February 10th. Updates on COVID, so you'll see there's just a one pager here for your review regarding COVID-19 and just some of the changes. So they have moved up what was to happen on February 21st is now moved forward to the 17th, and all of the items there are listed with the capacities and the restrictions and everything. New update as of March 1st, also listed on there, and that we will be reviewing this at our EOCG meeting Friday, February the 18th. And that is my report.
Okay, so let's go back and start then. 2022, the rec meeting, comments, questions? COVID-19, page 2. The 2022 event schedule, the program, Diamond Skills, Songs from the Park, any of those, any questions on any of those? The Irish Jig Jam, any questions on that? Show of hands, we give them the money and tell them to go. Good.
Thank you.
Eat and greet, Friday the 29th, this is for council. Comments, questions? 5 to 7, he said. That's a go, hands up. Okay, the Environmental Action Tour, Saturday, April the 30th, and there's the cost, the budget costs. Any questions or comments? Or Carl?
I think it's all expensive, $6,000.
Well, it was just because of the idea that we include some sort of catering. We can obviously do it significantly cheaper if we have, just a regular barbecue with hot dogs and stuff like that. The logic behind that I brought up with the group was number one, so that council would be able to go and meet with everyone, and that potentially that crowd might like something that was a more healthy option, and so that we would have some sort of catering in regards to that. Of course, we can change all of those other things, and then the other increase would have been the water coolers, which we'll be able to use forever, and the t-shirts, which increase it by 50. And so that also adds the cost, and everything else would have been carried forward from last year.
I think it's a pretty cheap way to have people get out and pick garbage and see the importance of keeping the roads clean, and teaching our kids about recycling and not throwing things out of the car. I think the money's worth it, right?
Yeah, I agree, and I think that each year it's growing, so
Yes.
obviously the interest is there, so I think we should maybe put a little bit into it
Yeah.
on our side
Yeah.
to contribute to that. I think it's a great thing.
The way to get the success there.
Picking up the
Now,
garbage and some of those ideas like with the water bottles, makes sense.
it does make sense. Anybody else comments on this budget? Those in favor of the budget, then pick your hand up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. Everybody says good. Thank you. So the other budget pre-approval, so 325, they said yes to that. Easter Candyland, he wants $1,000. Questions, comments?
Is that gonna be, sorry, Madam Mayor, is that gonna be held at the Round Lake?
Yes.
this is basically just paying for their candy and their.
Yeah, we've
costs and
always
stuff.
done that.
And I actually believe that is from last year, what we had, because we did a similar event, but we didn't pay nearly that for the cost of what we
You
did.
did it, it was a drive-through Easter bunny
Yeah,
here.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, you did
My
it
mom
here.
and I. did it,
Yeah.
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 Okay, $1,000, show of hands.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Volunteer appreciation, questions, comments? $1,000, hands up. Thank you. Canada Day, well, we all talked about this in length. So there's the budget that was laid out. Council made decisions. We've talked about this before. Show of hands on that budget. Okay, that's a go. And then double on the Irish gathering because we didn't spend it from last year. Council did give approval to Brian and I. We brought it forward. We said we could double it up, but I'll ask again, those in favor? Thank you. Rural Community Cooperative, the RC rec meeting, and the issues on COVID. The report as a whole. Oh, sorry, Brian.
I just had a question on the event schedule, Chris, on the Loggers Festival,
Yes, so
Oh, yes.
I've arranged with John, and hopefully Stanley, that we can talk next week to figure out what we're going to do with this event. You had talked about potentially doing it in the summer. We had talked as a recreation group that we should look at maybe also seeing what it's like in the winter. So I was just hoping we could talk with both of you and figure out what, because you guys are such a major piece in that we figure out what you guys would like to do and then move forward on that.
So you guys could have a meeting and then come back. Do you want Brian and I there?
It's up to you guys.
When did you plan the meeting?
I just had talked with John since he returned about next week potentially.
Yes,
I think you had in the summer, you'd have 3 times the crowd.
that's what I thought, but they didn't agree with me.
The only
Didn't
thing,
agree with
we talked about a lot of people aren't gonna be around and stuff like that.
In the summertime,
Holidays and stuff like that.
the lake will be full of people.
That's right. the lake will be
God,
full-
all me, you know?
The lake, as he
the
said,
lake
the
will be
lake.
full of people.
Yeah, you want these guys cutting in chainsaw pants and stuff like that?
But I'm saying that have all the people around all the summer, I love.
That's
Well,
what
I
I will let
don't
them-
know, but I
let them
was approached by a lot of the people that participated in the logging and you know, and they thought it would be better to have it like maybe in the fall before the hunting starts, like late.
Hunting starts in July.
Hey,
Hunting starts in July.
no. No, you're wrong.
I know, I
It
know I'm
starts
wrong.
sometime the 1st of January.
I'm exaggerating.
Yes, and it had something going on when the car show was on.
Well, right, August is pretty full.
Oh,
Sep-
yeah.
if September is actually, if that's what you wanted to do in the fall, early September. All of September is pretty open. That's the best time in the fall.
It's,
Yeah, we better, because anything starts after that, hunting starts.
Well,
we
exactly.
definitely, Chris will have to come up with a date. And then, because, I don't care who's gonna be the drive behind this, but I'm telling you, you need 3 months.
Okay, what about September the 17th? How about we let that? Well, okay, let's get a date to meet. That's the date I'm gonna be pushing. How about next Tuesday at 10 o'clock? Brian, you're good?
That's the
22nd?
22nd, yeah. No,
Stanley?
I'm okay.
John?
Yeah, I'll go for that. I have to go to Ottawa, I think someday next week, but I'm not sure, but I think it's later on in the week.
Okay, you sure that's okay then? Because family day is the Monday, that's why I was suggesting the Tuesday. Chris, are you okay on the 22nd at 10?
Yep.
Okay,
What time?
10 o'clock
10.
here. Okay, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for Chris? Chris, anything else for council? Thank you very much. Have a
You're
good
very
day.
welcome. Thank
Good
you.
evening. All right, Sue, you're up.
Okay, there was a letter, we don't want to talk about vaccination policy, right? No. A letter from Todd White from Friends, regarding,
I read that.
yeah, and so Tyler spoke to me about it. He said, like, he's of the opinion that if an application comes through, like, if we do a severance, if we do a zoning, like, you have to pay.
Either they pay or no. I don't like this bypassing. There's a policy. You have to pay the fee. That means you're talking serious business when you have to double up the money. This
Right.
thing, give us a break, waive
Can
the fee.
I ask the question what you guys are talking about?
Oh, this thing here. Did you see this from Tyler?
Okay, from Tyler, gotcha. Okay, sorry.
So I'm recommending the council, we say no, either they pay the fee upfront, like everybody else would have to, and then we do business.
Yeah, because he says, like, even if they take out a building permit, they gotta pay the fee.
Absolutely,
Like, right up front, like.
and that means they're serious,
Yes.
when we start wasting a whole bunch of people's time.
And then, like Todd says, they do all this work.
Yeah, and then they walk away, they have nothing repercussions. Okay, any questions before I call that we tell them they have to pay or no go? Hands up? Okay, good, thank you.
I got a letter, an email from the leader, they're wanting to open St. Patrick's Day is fast approaching, whether we want to, put an addition in, and it's, you know, a quarter page, half page, full page, and like they say, normally we put a half page for the gathering, so, but I guess we haven't done it the last couple of years, so. It's either, do we want to put a half page in this Irish edition, or?
How much is it?
Quarter page is $1.95.
Let's put a quarter page in, guys, eh?
Yeah.
Hands up? Okay, so yeah,
Okay, that's it for me.
that's it for you. The resolution G9, we're gonna talk about that.
Yes.
Okay. Move it up, Dave. All right, now, where are we? Where am I? I'm right here. Okay. No severances. Okay, minutes for the rec.
By Carl Keel, second by Ted Brown, motion to approve the minutes of the Recreation and Culture Committee meeting held on March 8th, 2021.
All those in favor? Here, carried. Correspondence, and again, I'm gonna go relatively fast. If you want me to talk about it, stop me, otherwise I'm going. I'll wait for you soon. Okay, before we get off to you, Sue, and onto the correspondence. So tomorrow is supposed to be bad weather, so I'm suggesting that we postpone the zoning meeting. And we'll do it another night, okay? I'll remind council that in my opinion, we don't have to rush on that. Very delicate subject.
You want to set up another date, or?
Do you want to, okay, so maybe next month? Oh. Well, just wait, I must have something. March, I'm gonna come back. I've got the 24th of March. How about that? Okay, well then we'll just wait, we'll go. What about the 29th? No, not that, yeah? 28th, I mean, 28th. Did I say 29th?
Yeah. Either
Yeah.
one's fine.
Okay, I'll say 28th.
Okay.
I've got something else on the 20th. Okay,
March
28th of
28th.
March at 7 o'clock for the zoning. With Tyler.
7th?
Yes, please. Okay, just so I don't forget that. All right, now we'll go back to the correspondence again. Please keep up.
Take tomorrow's meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
First one is from the Solicitor General to Jane Dumas. Anything there? Next one is from the Deputy Minister, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Anything there? Steps, next one's from Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing on steps to gradually ease public health measures. Comments or questions about that? Okay, we'll be talking about that with the department heads. County of Brantford, Ministry of Health commits to funding for the health thing. City of Brantford, addressing the revolving door of justice. Next is from the Brantford County District Health Unit about pre-tests, comments or questions? And this letter, okay, and we've got a letter, I'll just read it. February 10th, 2022, dear Mayor TJ and KHR Council. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me about the recent article published in the Eganville Leader concerning KHR's Council's decision to suspend volunteer firefighters. The firefighters had asked for indefinite leaves of absence rather than to comply with COVID vaccine requirements. I appreciate your reassurance that KHR does have access to firefighters in other townships during this suspension period. And while the township seeks to replace the volunteer firefighters, should they choose not to return to their jobs. In the end, while each individual must choose his or their personal course of action, governing bodies must make decisions that balance respect for individual rights and choices with the consideration of broader social concerns. And in this health crisis, these decisions must be grounded in the best public health guidance available at the moment. Your difficult but science-based decision takes the most current public health information into account and is consistent with measures taken in other municipalities across the province. Thank you for taking the time to discuss this matter with me and for your and your council's willingness to make such difficult decisions in your efforts to keep us all safe during this unprecedented time. Kate Merton, Kildoher Community. So we'll send her a note back, thanking her for the letter. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we get the letter from the Friends of Park. Then we got a letter from Ann Burkett, the president of the Friends of Bonship Park, saying that they have awarded us with the Board of Directors Award for 2022, and that is council, the whole council from KHR. And it's really nice to see that. I will mark that down to receive that on June the 4th. Oh, mark it down. At their AGM, I wonder where they hold it, you know? Must be at the Bonship Park.
I'll bring back and say that.
Yes, say that I'll come and ask for grant. Okay, and thank them for that. Thank you very much. Okay, and then the Ottawa Valley newspaper, any comments or questions on that? Okay, that's great. Bylaws, let's do bylaw 11, 2022. We have a motion.
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Carl Taylor, motion for first and second reading of bylaw 11, 2022, being a bylaw pertaining to a municipal highway for grade settlement.
All those in favor? Yeah. First reading, Council Short, please.
Bylaw 11, 2022.
Discussion. Second reading, Short, please.
Bylaw 11, 2022.
Discussion. Motion for third.
Moved by Joan Jeffries, second by Ted Brown, motion for third reading of bylaw 11, 2022.
All those in favor? Carry. Council third reading, Short, please.
Bylaw 11, 2022.
Just the one spot? Yeah. Okay, then we're gonna go to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? New business. Does anybody have any new business? Okay, and we'll have a motion. We have to go in close. Bob, you're welcome to stay.
Moved by Deputy Lieutenant, second by Ted Brown, be it resolved that council moving to a closed meeting pursuant to section 239 of the municipal law 2001 as amended for the following reason. No matter but identified as an individual from the municipal or local board of governors. This solution is applicable to the city matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local authority.
All those in favor? It's carried. Okay, so let's shut.